Yeah, so with intense pain, do you know the difference between pain and suffering? Or
Pain.
or as defined in Buddhism, there's like a difference, there's a different definition. I mean, maybe we have different definitions, but there's a definition of pain mostly being like mainly physical pain. It can be different types of pain, maybe, you know, pain in the body and so on. And this is pain, or it can also, you know, be different. I mean, it depends, there are different definitions, but to make it very simple, so pain is something we cannot avoid. So it's part of life. So, you know, maybe I hurt myself here and, you know, there's pain. It's just there now. I cannot do anything about it. But then if I hit myself here and there's the pain, and then I think, oh, the stupid table, who put it here? You know, why is it there? Or like I should not have this pain, and thinking all these things, then, and when I say, oh, I don't want to have this pain, you know, then there's resistance to the pain. So then I don't want to feel this pain, and I put another layer. So there's the pain, and this pain I cannot avoid. You know, it happened.
Yes.
There's the pain, but then there's another layer of like maybe resisting or thinking, oh, it should not be like this, and this is like what, you know, some people may call like suffering,
Okay.
or how some people define suffering, and I find this, you know, concept very useful. Um, so, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so that means that
Exactly. Suffer means that we are resisting. Ah. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, if you are disappointed of something, then you're feeling suffer because of it, then because you are resisting about the disappointment, is it?
something like this, yes, exactly.
I
So
think.
so we resist. So the experience is like maybe you had an appointment with someone, or someone said, I will do this, and then the person, you know, didn't do what they said they would do, you know, and then you had an agreement. And then because you had the expectation of this to happen, you're disappointed, right?
Yes.
Maybe. Or I would be.
Yes.
So, um, so then, you know, and this is also okay, that's natural, because we have values and
Yes.
we appreciate that. And, you know, and this may be like okay, and this of course is okay. And then if we on top of that, we can make it worse for ourselves if we say, oh, because there's a difference here or there also, we can just like, you know, we can like, you know, maybe in our mind say, oh, I would really have appreciated if this person, you know, would have, you know, said, did what they said they would do, and we had this agreement. You know, maybe I feel like some sadness or some disappointment about this, you know, and then, you know, this is also like a different quality. Maybe there's some suffering in there, but it's like, or maybe not, you know, it depends on our experience actually, how we perceive it, but let's not get into this at the moment. And then if on top of that we say, this person is unreliable and really stupid, and, you know, I will never talk to this person again, you know, or work with them or whatever, and, you know, and really get into like emotions intensely,
Yes.
you know, like I did last week. so so then I created a lot of suffering for myself, you know. I said, yeah, like, oh, you know, this person said this but did not do that, and I got mad, you know, and disappointed and angry, you know, and I was the one suffering from it, you know. I was like in suffering, and I created a lot of extra suffering for myself. So, and then we say, you know, the pain is, you know, we cannot avoid, this is what happens, but the suffering is optional. So this we can choose.
Yes,
We want to suffer or not, how much we want to suffer. I decided at that moment, I want to suffer some more. So, and then at one time I realized, maybe maybe I have enough now. let's be, you know, let's move on.
Yeah.
So yeah. So, but I find this concept quite helpful. So then, but then also the same is like when we have, one time I remember I had intense toothache last year when I was in India. And, you know, then, I had like such intense pain, and it was not possible for me to avoid it. And then I also got some treatment, of like some root canal, and the doctor said, and you have to take some painkiller and so on. And she did take some of like, she didn't give me the injection. I said, I don't want this, but it was there. I think there was some of like the disinfection, like with the alcohol and so on. So this was helping a little bit, but only for a short time.
Okay.
And then the pain came like so intensely,
Um,
and it was like so intense, and I was like, okay, what to do? And she gave me painkillers. She said, okay, please take them later, if so. But I was like, I don't know, stupid. I don't know. I wanted to have that experience, I guess. So I didn't take them, and then it was an intense experience, and I decided to. Yeah, it was actually, I didn't have much choice. I was just like, okay, now I'm just using this as an experiment, and I was just taking, sitting there, as best as I could, like trying to relax and be present. And it was like almost impossible for the mind to go to different thing. It was like I couldn't distract myself, like it was so intense. So I just said, okay, then I'll just be there, and then like, this experience, I forgot now how long it lasted, maybe I think 8 or 10 hours or something, and then it was going more intense and then less. And at some points, and of course, sometimes I was then also maybe drinking something or walking a little bit or going to the restroom, but mainly just being with that pain. And then I noticed sometimes my mind was thinking like, oh, you should, like, I don't want to experience this pain. And there was like resistance building up. And then really noticing, okay, how does it feel? What does it look like? The different images, the different thoughts arising, and the resistance developing. And then noticing, oh, now this is like suffering. This is a different, and it feels, the experience is different from it. Like I noticed, oh, this is really different. And then, I was like more tense and more contracted. And then I tried to just be with that, just let it be there and relax into that. And then again, there was just more the experience of pain and not so much the suffering. And I think sometimes it was there more, sometimes less, and then just was again with the experience of pain. And then it was like at one point, it actually became pleasurable. I don't know what happened, but it was like there was maybe it was the intensity of the concentration, because my mind could not go somewhere else. I don't know. Like I just wanted to be open and experiment and experience for myself. So, but then at one point, like it became quite pleasurable, and there came like some pleasurable sensations, and it was more like very subtle. There was like a lot of pulsating, and I could, and it was like different. The experience changed. It was very interesting for me, very interesting. And then I was just experiencing that, and I think, but only like next day or something. Of course, like I woke up at the night. Sometimes it was like a little bit painful and so on. And then the next day, sometime, it's like at some point it subsided, and I could, continue with other activities. But it was really interesting, and for me also that it actually led to like pleasure and a lot of awareness. At one point, there was like so much alertness. It was not possible. I was not possible to fall asleep. Not possible. Like there was just like so much alertness. I was so awake and so alert, and this experience was like consuming the attention and awareness. So there was intensity, awareness, and pain, and then also pleasure, and then the noticing of like different formations of like thoughts and images, and also images like, oh, I wish it would be like I would be in a different situation or somewhere else, and different images came up, and then just noticing all of this. So I don't want to encourage anyone to do that, take the injection and take the painkiller, but I don't know, for whatever reason I decided to do it like that, and it was an interesting experience, and it also gave me confidence somehow that if there's like intense pain, you know, most likely I'm gonna survive unless, of course, if it would have been a different situation, like, breaking my leg or something, or whatever, any different situation, I thought about it for a moment and decided, okay, this is what I choose to do, but I don't want anyone to encourage anyone to do it like that, so, and also, in many other situations, probably I would have done it very differently, and, would have taken the injection and the painkillers and everything, so we have to be wise and skillful. But at that moment, I don't know, for whatever reason, I did that, I chose that, but with yeah, also when, it was an interesting experience then also at the treatment, but yeah, and then I think there was some, because of I think when she put like was going there for disinfection, I think at that moment, there was some disinfection and some soothing, some painkiller, I think there, but it lasted like for a short while, maybe 10 minutes after the treatment, and then and then it was like interesting. So anyways, let's not dwell on that, but so it is possible definitely to meditate with pain, and it can have its benefits because it's unavoidable, it can be quite intense, of course, and we need to be wise. For example, I remember some time ago, I also in India, I had I lived near one mountain there, and then had contact with some yogis there, and then was doing some practice and so on, and then I was like getting really sick and having very intense fever, and I couldn't sleep and so on, and and then there came this yogi, and he gave me some lime, and he said I have to eat like these 2 or 3 limes, the whole thing like this, and he gave me some jamu, some herbs and so on. So, and I took all of this, and then I think, I don't know if it helped or not, but it helped, and but if I wouldn't have been able to sleep, maybe 2 or 3 days for or for some time, I would have taken, probably is sometimes wise maybe to take painkiller to be able to sleep also, so the body can rest. So I mean, this is a totally different topic, but one time I also had very intense pain, and after not being able, because of a sickness, and I couldn't really sleep, and then at one point I decided, okay, let me take, not intense painkillers, but like maybe a quarter of, like, what is it, like ibuprofen, I don't know how to pronounce it in English, like, and then maybe some melatonin to be able to help me maybe onset, sleep, to trigger sleep and so on. So I took this. I don't know if it's actually useful to do it like this. Please consult a doctor to combine this. So, but then, I was able to at least get a few hours of sleep, and then rest a little more, and then recovering. Because of course, if we cannot sleep for some days, that makes matters worse, because if the pain is so intense, we cannot sleep. So we have to be wise, we have to consult doctors. We shouldn't be so, foolish like myself. I just want to say it's possible to meditate with pain.
Yeah.
So